the goaltenders in this game. Marty Turco, 6 straight wins, the defensive player of the week in the National Hockey League. And at the other end, it will be Curtis Sanford, the best of 5 goaltenders the Blues have employed this year. It's his 7th straight start.
And for Marty Turco, the key has been 3 regular strength goals in the last 6 games against. He, like his team, is red hot.
Keith Tkachuk starts for St. Louis on a line with Peter Chayanek and Vladimir Orszagh, and it is the hottest line for Dallas. 16 points in the last 5 games for Jason Arnott, along with Bill Guerin and Brendan Morrow. Last time they met, it was a 4-3 shootout win by Dallas in the first period. The Stars peppered St. Louis with 21 shots, got great goaltending from Curtis Sanford.
The one thing about St. Louis, what they want to do is exactly what they've done on this shift. They got the puck in their zone, they got it out quickly, they got it in deep, and they cannot allow Dallas to set up the forecheck. That is where they're going to have trouble. For Dave Tippett's club right now, things are rolling. You talk about the 6 wins they have, 2 in regulation, 1 in regular overtime, and 3 in a shootout. And it's been seemingly somebody different every night. For Mike Kitchen, one of the great people in this game. 15.5 years as an assistant coach, 9 with Toronto, 6.5 here. His first full year, and it's been a tough one. But we talked to him yesterday, and again, he's just upbeat and working with this club to make it better.
The first penalty of the game being assessed against St. Louis, 51 seconds in. And it's going to be the talk of the town, Lee Stempniak.
St. Louis, 2 minutes, high sticking.
Chris, to me, this could be a key moment in this hockey game. If Dallas gets off to that good start, gets that first goal, then they're going to, they're going to be rolling. But I think for Dallas, they have got to stay ahead. I mean, for St. Louis, they've got to stay ahead in this game. You start falling behind an experienced, smart club like these Dallas Stars with all of the young guys on St. Louis, all that energy, all of the situations where you might, as Mike Kitchen told us, skate yourself into trouble.
What's been amazing of this 6-game win streak for the Stars, they have done it without a red-hot power play. In fact, just 4 power play goals in 25 tries during the 6-game win streak.
You look at Dallas right now, sitting 1 point behind Detroit. They got the 11th rated penalty killer, the 22nd rated power play, and yet their numbers are right there with the best clubs in the league.
They do find a way to win, and they have to do it today without Philippe Boucher, the outstanding offensive defenseman who tweaked the knee against Nashville on Thursday. And Martin Skula is the starting left point man here on the power play. Modano throwing it around. Bill Guerin and Jerre Lehtinen. The other point man, Stefan Robidas, who had a strong game against Nashville. And here is Skula playing it back. Robidas with the shot. That went off the skate wide. Skula looking for Modano. Just 1 goal in his last 13 games. Barret Jackman stepped into him. Blues failed to clear. Skula tried to tee it up, pulled back under pressure from Orszagh, the penalty killer. And again, the Blues have a chance to clear and fail. And now get it outside the line. Here's Skula. Under a half-minute remaining in the power play as Jokinen looked to center. Will be pounded around by the veteran Eric Weinrich, knocked down by Morrow. Arnott looked for control. He couldn't come up with it, and away goes Mark Rycroft. And so this Dallas power play coming to an end as Matt Walker steps up and plays it in behind Turco. Cammie, a good first penalty kill by St. Louis.
It wasn't, and one of the things that St. Louis has been successful in the last few games is staying out of the box, so they don't want to take penalties against this team. And one of the other things that they want to do is limit their turnovers, especially in the neutral zone. Mike Kitchen talked about a clean neutral zone, which means don't give Dallas a puck there. They're such a good attacking team on the transition. If they do that, it could be a long day for St. Louis.
Stempniak set up Scott Young, and that shot ends up on top of the net as Young set up by the fine young rookie Lee Stempniak for the first Blues scoring chance.
Scott Young, one of the real good veterans on this St. Louis club. Now, with Sillinger gone, with Wade gone, has become the leading scorer for the St. Louis Blues. And you have to wonder, Chris, as these games go on, there's still a lot of days until March 9th, the trading deadline. But with the way that they're cleaning house here in St. Louis, so some of the veterans aren't saying, you know, am I next? So it's another one of those things that Mike Kitchen has to work with, an unsettled locker room, not knowing, is this guy going to get traded? Of course, Keith Tkachuk, who wouldn't want a guy like that on their lineup?
Well, Scott Young, another player who might be a handy addition, the 38-year-old veteran. He is playoff ready. He's got the big shot, can play the point on the power play. That's Young, 48, who put it into the corner. He's not anxious to move, though, despite the Blues' problems. Young would like to finish the year here. He knows it may not be his choice.
And when you talk to a player and you offer him that playoff opportunity. Now, Young won cups in Pittsburgh and then in Colorado, so he knows the experience. He knows what it's like to go all the way. And for hockey players, there is nothing like winning that Stanley Cup.
There's Dennis Wideman, 25, who Keith Tkachuk mentioned with Cammy is one of the bright young rookies on this St. Louis Blues team. And Barret Jackman, a Calder Trophy winner in 2003. So the Blues are retooling, but there is the foundation of a solid blue line. People like Wideman, Jackman, the injured Eric Brewer, and Christian Bachman, who is not in the lineup today. He suffered a hip pointer against Chicago.
And there you've got that nucleus of 3 good young defensemen. You know that St. Louis is going to have one of the top 2 or 3 picks, maybe even the top pick in the draft, depending how that lottery goes. They also have Carolina's first pick, so they're going to have a couple of first-round picks to build around and build with a good, solid defensive core.
Fourth line is out for Dallas. That's Charnquist, along with Hagman, and Charnquist a shot. And Curtis Sanford makes his first big save of the afternoon.
And Sanford has been one of the bright spots for the St. Louis Blues. It has been a tough season. And it was a situation where he has played as well as anybody in goal for St. Louis.
Well, and Peter, this year he struggled with consistency at the beginning of the year. He has really found his game, and he's been the rallying point for the Blues. They've seen that he's found his consistency. They've seen that he's had success in the last little while, and they've really rallied on that. And he's come up big. And one of the assets for him, or one of the ways that he plays, is he's very methodical in the net. He doesn't move around a lot. He faces the shots well, and it's really worked for him in the last few games. He's found his confidence.
And it helps him so much defensively when you have confidence in your goaltender. You can see at the other end the confidence that Dallas has with Turco, how he's going to handle a puck, how he's going to make that big save. Talking with their players last night, especially the defenseman, Zubov, they were saying that, you know, we don't have to worry about anything. We make a little mistake, Marty's there to bail us out.
And offside at the St. Louis line, there's Trevor Daly, who will move up and be the partner for Sergei Zubov today in the absence of Philippe Boucher, who had been playing so well on the blue line. It doesn't sound like a serious knee problem for Boucher, but they're resting him today.
It was interesting, last game, Daly and got involved in an incident, a real scary incident. He put the stick on Scott Nickel of Nashville. Nickel went in almost head first in the board, ended up with a concussion. Now, nobody blamed Daly, but Dave Tippett was saying after the game, they're almost glad they threw Daly out because he was so upset about the situation. And he was also saying that it took the whole start of the game. This was supposed to be a big game, Nashville versus Dallas, close in the standings, and all of a sudden, because of the injury, it just slowed everybody right down, and it wasn't nearly the kind of game that they expected.
There's Mike Glumac, 54 for St. Louis, playing his first week in the National Hockey League, a native of Niagara Falls. Played with Miami of Ohio and the highly ranked Red Hawks last year, and now in his first stint with the Blues, and there's a familiar theme to that in this game as St. Louis giving a chance for players like Glumac and Stepniak to make their mark as future Blues.
One of the things Dave Tippett from the Dallas Stars told his team was you have to match this team's work ethic. St. Louis is a young team. They're energized by that youth. And you saw on that last as Glumac dumped the puck in and he recovered it in the zone. That's the kind of pressure that St. Louis wants to bring, and that's what Dave Tippett told his team. We have to match that speed and that work ethic.
Well, they have been energetic. They've scored first in 6 of their last 7 games. 5 of their last 8 games have gone to a shootout. They put a scare into Detroit. at Joe Louis earlier in the week before losing 3-2. So this is a group that will work hard today for Mike Kitchen.
You look at their last 3 wins, and it gives you a little David and Goliath type hope for the St. Louis Blues. They've beaten Chicago. There's a club that's playing along the same lines as St. Louis, having a tough year. But they beat Calgary here. They beat Vancouver here. 2 of the top clubs in a very tough Western Conference.
In fact, they've beaten the Canucks twice this year, and if Vancouver ends up losing the Pacific or the Northwest Division by a couple of points, they're going to regret the points they squandered against St. Louis. Here's Jackman sending it around. Chyanek, who's been energized by not just the return of Keith Tkachuk, but the acquisition of Vladimir Orszagh, a good veteran forward who was claimed on waivers from Phoenix but had been playing in Sweden. Orszagh 32 and Chyanek seem to have some chemistry in the first 10 games they played together. Chyanek scored in 9 of those games. Pressure here by the Stars. Skula a shot. It hits Stu Barnes along the way. Now Skula feeds Barnes. Back to Skula. Over there for Robidas. He's shot, and that whistled wide and comes all the way back into the Dallas zone.
And one of the things you talked about, Dave Tippett, Cammy, you talked about it, working as hard as St. Louis. The Dallas Stars, if they work as hard as St. Louis, you know they're going to work smarter because it's just a more veteran hockey club. So if you work as hard, it's going to give you that much better chance to win this hockey game.
There is, however, that adage that talent doesn't take over until you equal the work ethic of the team you're more talented than. And the Blues will be feisty all day long. Here's Jesse Bolaris, acquired in the Doug Weight deal from Carolina, wearing 36, the native of Plattsburgh, New York, who's known as a tough guy. Just stepped into Stefan Robidas, and Bolaris playing his first action as a St. Louis Blue.
And Bolaris also skated right through the crease and gave Turco a little nudge.
On a 4th line that's centered by Ryan Johnson, 17, who stirred it up in a previous game against Dallas when he nailed Mike Modano with a heavy hit. The response from the Stars, 4 fights in the next 49 seconds. They didn't like that treatment of their captain. Here's Scott Young working in his shot off the stick of Jansevsky, 38, playing his first NHL game. Dan Jansevsky in place of the injured Philip Boucher.
And Jansevsky is a big guy. He's 6'3", he's 220 pounds. And he's a kind of good replacement that the Dallas Stars have a good organization. They have good talent to bring up from their Iowa farm club.
You saw Modano wheeling in St. Louis ice, now out with Jokinen and Lehtinen. Klemm kept it in, and that shot off the glove of Sanford. Jon Klemm, the steady defenseman who had 6 blocked shots in the game against Nashville, leads the Stars with 108 blocks.
You know, it's so interesting. You look at the yearbook for the Dallas Stars, and the picture of Jon Klemm is him diving to block a shot. So they know his style.
Here's Tkachuk and his first shot on Turco. Handled on the backhand. We're still scoreless. We're watching the NHL on NBC. Back at the Savvis Center, 3 shots apiece, no score, Blues and Stars.
If there's one area where Dallas might need to improve, they're so strong in so many areas. They're not a dominant faceoff club. They can, and in certain instances, in certain games, lose a lot of draws, and that sometimes can hurt you in your own zone.
Arnott wins that away from Chyanek. Blues statistically are good in the faceoff circle. However, their top 2 faceoff men were dealt this week. Weight and Sillinger, and we've got a penalty being assessed, and it looks like Keith Tkachuk. Let's go inside the glass, presented by Bud Light.
Guys, you see Keith Tkachuk going to the box, or Keith Tkachuk going to the box here for a penalty, but this line has been so exciting for the St. Louis Blues in the last 2 games. And Chris, you mentioned Orszagh and Chyanek they've just found chemistry. Chyanek has been smiling around the room. He's so happy to have someone from near his native country around, someone to talk to in the locker room. He's picked his game up on the ice, and that line has been hot since Tkachuk's been back from the injury. They've got 9 points in the last 2 games combined.
Cam, you're looking at 2 different lineups, one a veteran bench and one a young bench with a lot of young kids. Do you notice any difference in the energy in the 2 benches?
Peter, you mentioned that the energy on the bench for St. Louis. What I notice is Mike Kitchen has to do a lot of teaching right now because all these new faces, they're learning systems. When they come back to the bench, he's giving them, you know, last whistle, guys, get up on the points, stay close to the points when you're in the zone. He talked about limiting turnovers, so he's constantly talking. When you look over to the Dallas bench, you see composure. There's not a lot of talk. Guys are just, they know their system, they know their roles because they're veteran players, and very big difference in the two benches.
Mike Kitchen, one of the best teachers in the NHL. Second power play of this opening period for Dallas. Did not register a shot on the first one. Quarterbacking it is Zubov, and now Modano moves down. Brendan Morrow's in front of the net. Zubov faked the shot. Here's one in front. Sanford down. Morrow on the doorstep. And it's swung back up top. Jussi Jokinen on that far side, but it's Zubov. And Modano looking cross ice. Broken up Ryan Johnson and rolled down the ice by Rycroft.
And Chris, it is just impossible to figure out why Dallas does not score on the power play. When you look at just the flat names that are on the ice, on not just the first unit, but the second unit, it doesn't make any sense. When you look at it, you say to yourself, the key is still going to be Billy Guerin. Billy Guerin, who's struggled, only has 8 goals this year, and as every coach will tell you, I talked to him today, he knows he's just on the verge. But when you look at that last piece to the puzzle for Dallas, it may be Billy Guerin scoring on the power play.
He probably couldn't wait to get to St. Louis, where he scored his last goal. Guerin has 2 in 33 games, both against the St. Louis Blues. Well, the power play's over. Tkachuk back out on the ice. This time just 1 shot on the power play. And we remain scoreless with just over 8 minutes to play first period.
And for a young club that maybe, you don't want to say an off, but, you know, looking to see what Dallas is going to bring in this game, those are 2 huge kills. Because not only did you kill them, but you killed them well. So now you're starting to, the first 12 minutes of this game, get a little confident. You're starting to feel better about yourself. You got your leaders playing well in this game. And, you know, Dallas has had the first 2 opportunities. You know you're soon going to get a power play chance. So you pretty good confidence right now for the St. Louis Blues.
Stars with a chance there as Miettinen fought off Tkachuk to get the deflection and an icing call against St. Louis. So the Stars 0 for 2 with the power play here in the first period.
Looking at Mike Kitchen talked about the win that they had against the Blackhawks on Thursday. Although they won, he was not happy with all the turnovers that they had in the game. And thus far in the game, the St. Louis Blues have done a terrific job of limiting their turnovers. They're playing a very clean game so far.
And this is where your leaders have to do exactly what the coach is talking about. You've got guys like Dallas Drake, who, you know, this is just killing him. He's captain of this hockey club. But the leaders have got to do what the coach is talking about in the dressing room, on the bench, because the young guys watch the veterans. As much as you're going to listen, as much as you want the coach to be the guy that you listen to, you watch the players. You watch those veterans like Keith Tkachuk.
Well, they try to keep things loose when things aren't going well, and it helped in a win. After the game, they showed a video of a couple of Blues bloopers, like that one.
That was a breakaway in overtime, and here on the shootout, Wideman walks in, and, you know,
Oops.
they didn't tell the players, but, you know, those are the kind of things where a coach shows that he's got it. He understands. You know, you show that, you don't laugh at it. It's just good fun. There's an old adage in hockey: if you can't take a joke, you are a joke. And that was just a fun time. And Tkachuk led the way, laughed at himself. No one likes to do it, but when you win, you can watch anything.
Well, apparently it happened to 2 of the more self-confident players. Tkachuk, of course, and Wideman, also a brash young rookie, very self-confident, and really has made an impression in a short time in St. Louis on the blue line as an offensive defenseman, but he'd like to have that shootout back. But it doesn't hurt to laugh a little bit when you're going like the Blues have been going.
Those are just magic moments. And during that last TV timeout, Mike Kitchen talked to both referees. I mean, he was working it to slow down the calls against his glove.
Dean McAmmond shot deflecting onto the netting and out of play. He felt if they played as they did against Chicago today against the Dallas Stars, it might be a 10-1 game.
This is a game right now your club's got to be scared. Your club has gotten emotional, and I don't mean certainly physically scared, because that's just not part of it. You have to be emotionally afraid of a better club.
Hey guys, and when we asked Mike Kitchen yesterday about matchups, are you going to match up against the Dallas Stars? He laughed. He said, you know what, I would love to match up, but I don't have enough continuity in my lineup. Our lineup has changed so much that we really don't have set lines and set D pairings in order to match.
Cammy, this is an interesting match right now. The fourth lines are out. Plenty of feisty characters like Bolaris, 36 for St. Louis, and Steve Ott, 29 for the Stars, who was in the midst of that fracas after the Ryan Johnson hit on Mike Modano just after Christmas. Bolaris with a huge hit as he stapled Jansevsky against the inboard, so he's making his presence felt. The Plattsburgh native wearing number 36. Back comes Sharnquist over the line. Matthias Sharnquist working against Barret Jackman, who has struggled a bit with the new rules. Fine Calder Trophy winning defenseman from 2003, who also missed a season because of a shoulder problem. So you combine that with the new rules, and now maybe another problem for Jackman as he awkwardly goes into the corner boards, and Jackman in some difficulty. Well, he gets up quickly. We hope that's not serious. There's the big Bolaris hit here in St. Louis.
Jackman on the left. Watch the skate. The left skate of Jackman just get hooked up with the Dallas player right there. Pulls it out. And Jackman had enough time, Chris, to have a little walk down the hallway, come back, and the coach put him right back up. You're alive? Okay, you're back out there.
He's been playing so well of late, +5 in his last 7 games.
And guys, I just got an update. He's just a little bit of a bruised hip there. He went in kind of funny. He's going to shake it off.
Boy, it looked like it could be serious when he first went down. Orszagh with the turnaround shot. Tkachuk pouncing on it, and he's checked by Arnott. Keith Tkachuk in 12 games has 9 goals, and in 3 of those games he didn't finish because of injury.
When you look at here is Keith Tkachuk's year. Played 1, first game of the year, got hurt. Missed 3. Came back, got hurt in that game. Missed 15 with broken ribs. Came back, played 8, got hurt in the 8th game, missed 22 with a fractured hand, and now in his 3rd game back. That's it. That's been his season. And inside of those 12 games, where 3 of them he got hurt, he has 9 goals.
And in the game in Detroit earlier this week, took a slash on the other hand from Chris Chelios, a U.S. Olympic teammate, and he's got a large bandage on the baby finger. It looked like it was potentially going to be serious. We asked him, what's the captain doing, slashing him? He just shook his head and said, yeah, that's our captain, slashing me on the hand. So it's been that kind of year for Keith Tkachuk, but if he had his timing and if he could stay in the lineup, he'd be lighting things up for the Blues.
You would have to think, wouldn't you, with the rules and the way things have changed, because this is a guy that is just a dominant guy. He's got to be 230, 235. He is big. He is strong. He is the kind of guy that's impossible to move when you're allowed to move. Now you can't even do those things in front of that you could do before. And so he is going to be very difficult to deal with.
I hope Keith doesn't hear this, but I think he's more than 235. He is one big man.
Yeah, so strong.
Glumac with a shot, and it hit a Dallas stick and goes into the mesh. Well, coming up on our Dodge Intermission Report, Bill Clement, Ray Ferraro, and Eddie Olczyk hit the rink at 30 Rock with scores and highlights from today's NHL action. Plus, we'll look at the anatomy of a shootout. And we've seen plenty of that from the Dallas Stars. How about this guy?
This is simply the man. He is known as the man in the shootouts. 8 for 8. This little Peter Forsberg postage stamp move, he's done twice out of his 8 successful shootout shots, and the other 6 times, he's just shot it over the white pad of the goaltender.
Remember, Cammy mentioned Mike Kitchen working the referees. He's got his first call of the game as the St. Louis Blues will get their first power play of the afternoon. Jerre Lehtinen, the veteran defensive forward, goes off.
It was so interesting talking to Mike Kitchen about, you know, using the ice time, using the different players. He said, I'm going to coach to win. I don't care if we're completely out of the playoffs. These players are going to watch me coach to win. If now you're playing 3 minutes, you show me why I'm supposed to play you for 5 minutes.
So Tkachuk is out on the power play with Chianek, and Mike Glumac gets a shot on this power play. Scott Young, 48 at the right point, has that great shot. And Dennis Weidman is the other point man to start on the power play. This is Chianek, bothered by Morrow, kept in by Young, who played 2 years with the Dallas Stars. And here's Weidman, the former junior with the London Knights, the team run by the Hunter brothers, Mark and Dale, and they helped recommend him to the Blues. In front of the net, and it's chipped high. Glumac gets it to Chianek, and he'll play it back to Young. The leading point getter now with the St. Louis Blues, Scott Young. Chianek and Tkachuk. Cross ice, here's Weidman. And now Glumac. Quick shot, and he whipped it wide. Scott Young, 7 power play goals. One of the best shots in the NHL. One he used to work on in his basement. And here's a chance to see it. That one blocked as Brendan Morrow gets in the shooting lane. Now Weidman on the other side. Weidman with 7 goals on the year, a rookie season, 5 with the power play.
And Boucher not out there for these Dallas Stars. He is one of their top penalty killers. And so different people in different roles.
And now play stopped. And another penalty. Or no, they're just going to make the face-off outside the line.
Sergei Zubov talking last night about, where he learned to be so patient, and it was from watching fellow countrymen. He spoke specifically of Slava Fetisov, one of maybe the top international players that ever played the game. He was one of those dynamic Russian superstars that we didn't see until too late in his career. He joined the New Jersey Devils, played there, went on to win a couple of cups with the Detroit Red Wings. But Zubov, when you see him talk, you can see just how much he revered the play and the style and the leadership of a guy like Fetisov, who was a longtime captain of those great Russian clubs.
Penalty has expired. Lehtinen steps back on the ice. The power plays have yet to break the ice here. Here's Stepniak, 4 goals in his last 3. The All-American from Dartmouth, centered and scored. Dean McAmmond on a brilliant feed by Stepniak.
McAmmond, who, Chris, I just love this story. Dean McAmmond felt his career he couldn't disappear last year. He could not play. He went down to Albany, the American Hockey League. He played 79 games down in the American Hockey League. He was the leading scorer down in the American Hockey League for Albany. And people watched, people saw, and he got a contract with the St. Louis Blues. I mean, that's a guy that wants to be a player. And in this game now, 2 minutes to go in this first period, you've seen St. Louis kill off a couple of power plays and get that first goal. They are now starting, you can just feel the puck is moving well. They're jumping out of the zone.
This is what Dave Tippett said. He cautioned his team about the work ethic of St. Louis. Look for Morrow or Ott to get a good hit, or Stu Barnes to get the Dallas Stars going here.
Cammy, a chance there by Rycroft as they try to add to the lead. McAmmond with his 15th at 17:53 from Stepniak and Orszagh.
You need a good disciplined last minute and a half by the St. Louis Blues. Do not give Dallas anything right now.
Energized by the icebreaker. Here come the Blues again, and a big pad stopped by Turco as Ryan Johnson took that dangerous backhand.
And Kitchen had his hands up. Where was the call on that play?
Gloved down by Sanford, who nearly gave it away. He didn't see Nicholas Hagman in the neighborhood and has to eat the puck.
Great story about Nicholas Hagman. Nicholas Hagman's father, Maddie Hagman, and Nicholas Hagman are the first father-son Finnish-born players to ever play in the National Hockey League. And the other day at the Dallas practice rink, they were showing clips of old NHL games, the old Edmonton Oilers games, When Maddie Hagman, his dad, was playing, the first time he'd ever seen his dad play in the National Hockey League. His dad was a very good player. 4 years in the late 70s, early 80s with the Boston Bruins and Edmonton Oilers. That's got to be quite a thrill after all those years hearing about your dad, and all of a sudden look and see him. Yeah, he was out there with Gretzky and the boys.
And Dad was a player, and he probably knew that, but certainly it was reinforced as he watched the old Edmonton Oiler tapes. Maddie Hagman, a teammate of a very young Wayne Gretzky at the time.
And you look at Maddie's numbers, 237 games, he had 145 points. Of course, they were the high-flying Edmonton Oilers in those days.
Speaking of flying, Keith Tkachuk sent into the goal there. The big man is going to be crashing that crease all afternoon. We're in the final minute, 44.3 seconds left in a first period that has seen the Blues strike first. Dallas Drake kicks it back wide, but a shot through the screen went wide, and there's Guerin up to Jason Arnott. This is now the top scoring line for the Dallas Stars, 120 points, while the Mike Modano line has 117. You wonder if there's a little bit of internal rivalry there to stoke each other. Right now, the Arnott line is the most dangerous. Dallas Drake just ran over Marty Turco. Drake goes over to, I think, say excuse me, but he's going to head to the penalty box.
And Turco must feel that Drake did not do that on purpose, because Turco is the kind of guy that if he's upset, he'll let you know. And he just gave a little pat, Drake a little pat on the pass. Now here's a replay of it. As he comes in behind, it looked like he tried to get away. Because I'll guarantee you one thing, if Dallas Drake wanted to run him over, he's not going to shy away from running him over. Dallas Drake is one of the best open ice hitters that I've ever seen. When he lines you up and you get in his sights, he is going to finish you off.
So a power play at the tail end of this first period. Arnott, with just a few seconds left, will count one in on Sanford. And that will be it for the opening 20 minutes. And the Stars will start the second period down by a goal, but up a man with the power play.
Keith Tkachuk talked about a perfect game. To beat the Dallas Stars, well, that was period one of a perfect game.
7-6, the shots on goal favored St. Louis, and they get the opening goal of the game off the stick of Dean McAmmond. It was set up by Lee Stepniak for the second period at the Savvis Center in St. Louis. Blues with the lead. The Dallas Stars on the power play. The minute 40 in the Dallas Drake minor.
And you look at it, it's a long 45 seconds on this power play for the Dallas right at the start of the period when the ice is at its best.
Mike Modano will play the point along with Sergei Zubov. Up front, Jokinen joins Jason Arnott. Brendan Morrow as Zubov dishes to Modano. Finds Morrow. Ryan Johnson, Mark Rycroft are the killers for the Blues. And Jokinen. And Modano at the point. Sprawling on the play. So no shot. Here's Zubov. And Johnson up on him. Again, just one shot on the power play and two unsuccessful power plays in the first period. Modano in front and off a skate.
And right now, St. Louis defensemen, forwards are doing good with their sticks, getting in those passing lanes, taking away in easy to the front of the net for the Dallas Stars.
Here's Zubov, shots off Johnson, ricochets into the corner. Modano to more of the net, couldn't control Jackman, unable to clear it. Now they're try, and Zubov unable to hold the zone.
This has been 3 now consecutive penalty kills of outstanding by the St. Louis Blues.
An easy shot in Sanford and then played back into the goal. Let's go inside the glass, presented by Bud Light.
We'll talk to the coaching staff of both St. Louis and Dallas in the middle of the period there. And Louis, they really want to get better as a unit on the face. Lost Mike Sillinger, who's one of the best face-off guys in the league, and obviously Doug Weight, losing him as a centerman as well. They've got to tighten up on the face-offs. Dallas side, obviously not very pleased with their effort. They're not responding to anything that St. Louis is bringing, and they're letting Keith Tkachuk make the play.
And Cammy, you're sitting down there in a tough spot. So far in this game, is he?
Well, I almost ate down a straight stick, but I spent 30 years in hockey wearing a mask, and then I'm down here and lose my teeth.
You need that missing tooth to really have hockey, don't you?
Well, you know, as on a woman, you don't want to have scars or missing teeth. It looks all right on a guy, I think, but no thanks.
Penalty over. 0 for 3, the Stars with the man advantage. So far this afternoon as Ott drops it back to Robidas. You mentioned softs, and without Sillinger and Doug Waite, the St. Louis Blues have used Chyanek, who's out on the ice now, 61 faceoffs in the last 2 games. He 38 in one of those games. That's a high for the year in a regulation game. He was 19 for 19, just 50%. And there's a goal as Jon Klemm shot, and an unlikely goal scorer for the Stars has tied it.
Dallas Stars have got this kind of play all along. This is a club in Nashville, when the other team scores the first goal, has had more wins than the Stars. They've had 8 games where they have come back in the third period. Jon Klemm, one of my favorite players in the NHL, because I saw him when he first broke in with the Quebecs and then the Colorado Avalanche work to become an NHL player. Back in '96, when he won his first cup with Colorado, he played a lot of forward. He was a lot at 7th defense with 13th forward. And then in 01, when they won the Stanley Cup, he was a key contributor. And now with this Dallas Stars, these guys that at the end of the game, you look and you go, did Klemm play 18 minutes? Did he block 8 shots? He just does it night and night. So it's good to see those guys get a little bit of a reward for all their hard work.
Third goal of the year for Jon. If there's an optional practice, he's there. They got off yesterday. He probably didn't know what to do with himself.
And about it too, when you're playing against Jon Klemm, what he will do, like many great veteran guys, he'll raise the intensity level of practice like he plays. He blocks shots in practice. He will go. I mean, he is a give it all every shift, every practice guy.
Penalty coming up against St. Louis, so a tie goal and now another Stars power play.
I have to imagine that Dave Tippett did not have a comfortable first period intermission with this hockey club.
No, you kind of see that intensity on Tippett's face. Worst fears realized, and a hook on Arnott.
And those are the kind of penalties that drive coaches nuts, because you reach out and you know referees are going to make them. It's not like it's a maybe call anymore. You get your stick high on a guy on his arms and it's going to be called.
So Steve Popst in the penalty box. He lined up with the hip injury to Christian Bachman. And let's do their 4th power play of the game. Zubov with 1 power play points. Modano, no goals in his last 7, and only 1 in 14 for the Stars captain. You see Jokinen surveying from the half boards. Now hands off. Modano back to Jokinen, side the net in front. Let tied up, and a player goes down. And in some difficulty. The St. Blues defender, as puck is played across, and Orszagh really on the lip here as his leg got tangled in front of the net. So it's really a power play, a man and a half to the good here. Orszagh starting to look a little more Woodburn, and that shot through on.
A lot of people wonder why the referee does not blow the whistle. The referee does not feel it's from sort of the neck up or to back in. They are not going to make the call. I take you back.
And now some relief for Orszagh as the play pulled down.
I think the most famous of those was the New Jersey Devils, the year they won the Cup back in '95. There was a shot in the point that hit Paul Coffey right in the foot. Coffey lay on ice as the Devils were moving the puck and scoring with Coffey still laying on the ice about a minute late. And it turned out to be a key goal in a 4-game sweep by the New Jersey. But that's what the referees do. They will not whistle that often.
Skula sending it across, and that shot just off target on the deflection. Rycroft battling along boards, played it in front of the net, and it will be cleared down the ice by Matt Walker. So now Skula's on the point. Zubov up front, Arnott and Guerin along with Brendan Morrow. Morrow glove down, plays it back to the point. Skula looks for Zubov. Back to Skula. Here's Guerin. Remember, both goals in his last 33 games have come against St. Louis. Skula again, tees it up, a rocket rebound, and Sanford robs Guerin, who gets another scoring chance. They score! Jason Arnott has another goal, and this time the Stars convert on the power play.
Points in 10 out of 11 games now for Arnott. And this line is a horror show if you're a defenseman. The size, the skill, strength, this line where you got Arnott, 6'4", 25. You got Guerin, 6'2", 220 pounds. You got one as tough and as hard to handle as any winger in the game. See the little back pass right there by Morrow. And this is what Mike Kitchen, we talked about what Tim was afraid of in the first period. This is what Mike Kitchen was afraid of all along with these Dallas Stars. You got a situation we play a period. Now you've made maybe 2 mistakes in this period, and it's 2-1 for the Stars, and your club's all of a sudden, they're showing up.
And guys, you talk about their slumping, Peter. You could see right before that penalty when it was called, the guys on the Blues just their shoulder slumping. They know the game's up. They're maybe going to lose a little momentum from that goal, but they get them, and now they're down 2-1, and you can definitely see a change in energy here down at ice.
Maybe another momentum shift, however, Cammie, as the Stars are being assessed a penalty. The goals come under half minutes apart. Antti Miettinen.
Dallas, number 20, minor penalty hooking.
Gets the hooking penalty, but Arnott from Morrow and Guerin after them had scored from Charnquist to open this period.
Of all the things that the rules have done, as we watch a little penalty right here, and just again, and there's another one that coaches don't like. When you're 180 feet from the net, that's a necessary penalty. But there's so many more momentum swings, which are the fun part of hockey. You're down, you're up, and come back. The crowd gets into it more often now than it did over the course of the last 4 or 5 seasons. When you got ahead, years past, the last 5 years of hockey, the game was over. It got to be so predictable. Like the rules or not like the rules, the games are less predictable.
Scott Young will bring the Blues power play out. Played it on the right side for Chianek. He was met by Stu Barnes, and it's turned back to the Blues. St. Louis playing from behind now as they try to get their power play untracked. And it gets by Weidman, and the rookie point man will have to go to get it along with Sanford, who sends it around to the veteran Scott Young. Approaching 6 minutes of this second period. Blues led after 1, but the Stars have taken control in the second. Tkachuk bodying his man. Hagman now comes up with the puck behind the net. Zubov quickly on him. Back to the point for Young. And now Stepniak's parked in front. Czech Olympian Peter Chianek. Touched by Skula. Now Tkachuk, a shot off pucker of Turco. Weidman had moved in, and now Stepniak, the Dartmouth product, put it in front. Tkachuk looks for it. We've got another penalty coming up as the Stars trying to clear the front of the net.
Did the referee look at Turco on that play?
St. Louis, number 26, minor penalty, goaltender interference.
No, Turco was the one he was pointing because he had been knocked down. And to look at the play right here.
And Chianek falling back into Turco.
And where Chianek is going to play is he in the blue. And they blue being the crease right there. Because Turco is a very aggressive guy again. But, you know, there was so much talk at the start of the season. A lot of people were talking about how the goaltenders were getting run.
Well, and Peter, up or down at ice level here, Mike Kitchen is yelling to the refs, let us play hockey. Didn't agree with that call. The Blues get up, they're getting some offensive chances, and then they get the takeaway here by getting a penalty while they're on the power play.
Blues had been very good in recent games at staying out of the penalty box. In a previous game against Dallas, a couple of 5-on-3 Stars goals in a 3-0 victory that drew the ire of Coach Mike Kitchen that day. Here's Lehtinen with the steal. In St. Louis territory, 4-on-4, and he takes the shot off the side of the net.
When your club is starting to play well again, you start to look at who is playing well first and foremost, and you look at your leaders. And McAmmond right now has a second gear that he has established in the second period.
Blues almost got caught with too many men on the ice. Drake came on, and the player coming off took a little detour to get a piece of one of the Dallas Stars, but the play went unnoticed by the officials. And now the Stars have a power play once again for just over a minute. Here's Guerin into the zone, put it in the slot, knocked away from Arnott. chopped along the boards. Dallas Drake also celebrating a birthday today, number 37 for the veteran Drake, and the captain of the Blues as St. Louis clears the zone.
Mike Kitchen talked yesterday about how much Dallas Drake cares about how this club is doing, the tough year that it's had. He said it's probably taken away from his own game because he spent so much time working with the young guys, working to keep the atmosphere in that locker room good, that he hasn't been able to maybe prepare as well himself. He's so tired, and you know, because it's physically, it is so much more demanding. When you're trying to be the captain of a club that's losing than a captain of a club that is winning, because you know what you need to say, when you need to say, you're working to help him try and, you know, buoy this guy's spirits, and then all of a sudden you get a couple of other veterans traded away, cylinder and weight, a couple of guys you relied on to help you in those situations.
Said yesterday, we've got to stay out of the penalty box. He said Zubov will pick us apart. Well, they do have a power play goal today. Zubov has not figured in on it. But Zubov is out on the ice now, along with Arnott, Morrow, and Garrett, who all registered points on the goal by the Stars, which put them ahead in this game. So the big line for Dallas now is the A line with 123 points. That shot tipped in front of Chayanek, who parked in front of Marty Turco, and coming out of the penalty box. And now we've got a penalty against Dallas. When we return, Brendan Morrow will be in the box, and the St. Louis Blues will be on the power play. Brendan Morrow in the penalty box. The Dallas Stars are a man short. St. Louis looking for the equalizer, and Weidman broke his stick on the shot from the point, allowing the Stars to send it down the ice. Dallas riding a win streak here.
Just a little note, Tkachuk, I don't know if he was talking to Turco or the referee, but turned around very animated as he looked back into the offensive zone.
Remember last week when Turco got tangled up intentionally with Pavel Datsyuk, and it added to the subplot of the game. There's Tkachuk, the big man, gets it across, and now back to the point where Young has that lethal shot. Chayanek off the boards. It's Tkachuk throwing it in front off the skate, and now Dallas unable to clear. Weidman keeps it alive. Here's Chayanek trying to thread it in front, and Steve Oss on it. He'll send it down.
Chayanek, was he trying to bounce that one off of Turco? Because Turco was cheating just a touch off the post, and he may have tried to bounce it in. One of the best players we've seen so far in the last few years is Pierre Tergen of these Dallas Stars and St. Louis Blues, now with the Colorado Avalanche. Loves that play.
40 seconds remaining in the power play. We passed the midway point of the second period. It's been a good one for Dallas with a pair of goals, and now back to the point. Young unable to hold the zone. They'll have to reboot this power play out at center ice. Dahlman on the ice. Dahlman, another rookie, one of 40 players who have played for the Blues this year. Included in that, 10 rookies playing their first NHL action with St. Louis this season. Glumac, another, is out on this power play, number 54. And with the puck comes McAmmond. He'll play it back to veteran Eric Weinrich, to Dahlman, to McAmmond, broken up by Zubov, who read the play, and Lehtinen will take over. And the penalty is over. Dallas back with a full complement.
But one of the things that is back for St. Louis, they seem to have gotten over that little down period they had after that second goal, and the energy seems to be back in their game.
Here's Rycroft along the boards. Lehtinen trying to play it out, and he does, over the head of Rycroft, back down in the St. Louis zone. Stars have won 6 straight games this year and 6 in a row overall against the St. Louis Blues. Trying to extend it here this afternoon. Nice pass, and Stars bust out of their own zone, led by Skula. Miettinen shot knocked down. Jackman took Miettinen off his skates, and here's a break for Bulleris. Bulleris trying to center it into the skates of Rycroft, and a ricochet wide. And now the puck gets past Weidman and out to center.
Bulleris is a tough guy. He likes to hit. He likes to play with a lot of energy, and that's exactly what he's done in the first half of this game. Every time he's been on the ice, your eyes go to him because he is eliminating somebody that's had the puck.
Well, Peter, the role that they want him to play is the same role he plays in Carolina. He doesn't get a lot of minutes, but he's getting more today because of the way he's playing. He's had some big hits, like you mentioned, and right there, almost an offensive chance.
Now Young bursts back into the Dallas zone. A shot right on Turco. They crashed the net, and the net knocked off as Barret Jackman was in the door. Step and play whistle down, and I think Jackman may get a penalty here.
St. Louis number 5, minor penalty for interference.
So another goaltender interference call, and Jackman was surprised. And we've seen that reaction from Mike Kitchen a few times today. Close call, but there's the penalty. So Barret Jackman in the penalty box, and Mike Kitchen wants an audience with Dennis Leroux.
Now Jackman on the right side, he comes through. And again, he just seemed to be falling through in his play.
And guys, on that play, Mike Kitchen was yelling at the referees there, saying that he thought the defenseman knocked the net off. He wanted a penalty, a delay of game penalty for Dallas as well. And this is tough. I mean, they had the momentum. St. Louis's fourth line got out there, had a great shift, good offensive opportunity, and then the momentum was taken away here with this penalty.
Now the Stars orchestrating their 6th power play of the game. It's broken up and fired down the ice by Matt Walker, who heads to the Blues bench. Here's Zubov, that stretch pass, and Brendan Morrow bouncing it in through the blue paint in front of Curtis Sanford. Zubov now to Guerin, who had a chance just a minute or two ago when he was foiled by Sanford. Modano now takes the shot and just misses. Zubov plays it around deep. Guerin will let it go. Arnott will play it. Back to Modano. And now Zubov. Zubov, who played against his coach in the '92 Olympics, sends it across in front. And it bounced over the stick of Guerin. There's a broken stick on the ice. And that was Ryan Johnson, who got hit with the puck and lips off without a stick.
What's the number one thing that you saw from Dallas? Hard passes. They gave everybody else on the ice that got the pass an extra second with the puck, because they didn't just float the pass across. The hardest passer I ever saw was Ray Bourque. He would knock the stick right out of your hand if you weren't ready. Great players pass the puck hard.
Jay McAmmond out now, a rookie in a penalty-killing role with 15 seconds left in the Stars power play that comes back to Skula. And now Zubov in deep. And that pass, he couldn't get through the skates. Skula trying to hold the zone. It bounces off Drake out to center. And now Jackman back on the ice. So the penalty killers have killed 5 of 6 for St. Louis. And now a penalty coming up against Dallas. An icing call and a penalty to be assessed. Jerre Lehtinen, a tripping penalty. And so the Blues have a power play and a chance to tie this game.
Now with the rested shift and ready to go, Tkachuk becomes a big factor on this power play. He knows right now, 5:25 remaining in this period, in a second period where they came in leading, now they're behind. Tkachuk, kind of leader, the kind of hockey player that can feel the situation. This is a power play for him to take over.
And he has the puck behind the net, fishes it out, gets it to the point. Scott Young is there. And now Chayanek off the boards, looks for Tkachuk. Stepniak in the slot. Couldn't get a shot away, but got it to Tkachuk. Tkachuk surveying up top. Now Tkachuk from the half boards. Weidman, one-timer right on. And Turco the stop. Tkachuk again. Gets it to Chayanek, who lost it. And Stu Barnes is up with it. It's 2-on-1 with Ott. Barnes over the line, in front, Ott, and a big stop by Sanford. Oh, a short-handed chance for the Stars, but Curtis Sanford comes up large. And now the other way, a chance, and a great stop by Turco. Rebound and score!
Here's a 2-on-1 with a save by Sanford. Odds seem to have him beat. Sanford, big save, and away they go. You saw one of the keys. The two Dallas players fell in the corner, so it turned into 4-on-2, and Dallas just kept driving at the net. And again, the energy and just the flow of that play. You could feel that one coming.
And Peter, what Scott Young did so well, he came down the right wing there, and he noticed that Marty Turco took away a lot of his angles, so he just got a puck on his pads for the rebound, and it ended up coming out, and St. Louis ends up with the goal there. So very smart play by Scott Young.
There are times when you shoot to score. There are times when you shoot to keep the play alive. And Scott Young did that right there. That nice shot off the pads. He didn't let Turco control the rebound.
That's a veteran play. Orszagh and Weidman both crashing the net, and Orszagh beat the rookie to it, and Vladimir Orszagh has his third in 11 games since joining the Blues. Drake, hot shot, rebound, scored! There it is, Mike Glumac has his first NHL goal!
One of the great traditions of hockey. You score, and one of your first NHL goal, and one of your teammates fishes that puck out and pops it right into your hand.
And again, the shot, creating a rebound. Mike Kitchen had been working with Dallas Drake on bad angle shots all day yesterday. Get the puck to the net, get it on net, and then drive to the net, and it produced a rebound, and Mike Glumac's first NHL goal.
One of the keys, how high do you want it to be when you take a bad angle shot? You want it to be 12 to 14 inches high, because the goaltender cannot reach down and catch it. He can't play it with his stick. Those are the two areas where he can control the rebound. You bounce it off his pads, and that makes it tough. We saw it twice in a row for the Dallas Stars. And what I liked about the St. Louis Blues, what I liked about St. Louis, they bounced back from being down 2-1 against a veteran club, and they have played very well since then.
So first Orszagh on the power play, and then Glumac. The goals come 32 seconds apart. And suddenly St. Louis is back in front 3-2. We talked about the Blues playing a letter-perfect first period. The Stars were playing their kind of period until the final 5 minutes.
And you take it all the way back. What should the score be? The score should be 3-1 for Dallas right now, except for Sanford. Sanford saved that one play. Just energized, turned this whole thing around.
That short-handed chance by Ott, had it gone in, could have been an early backbreaker against a young St. Louis team, but youth again being served here. Here's Stepniak trying to feed Scott Young. We talked about Stepniak, Glumac, and the new look of the Blues. Stepniak out on the ice, number 12, and a penalty coming up against St. Louis. Zubov was taken down in the corner. Zubov sends it to center. It'll be picked off there by Glumac. And here comes yet another penalty call against St. Louis.
And a
Number
chance for
37
Dallas
St. Louis, 2 minutes tripping.
to tie this game up. You know, it is interesting, as we watch this penalty, it is interesting to watch the two coaches. For Dave Tippett, arms crossed, watching, managing a club that maybe not is playing a great game today, but knows that they have that ability to press it when they need to. Mike Kitchen is working his tail off, touching everybody, getting them going, talking to them, making sure the referee hears every single time that he thinks it's a bad call. You're staying on him.
And Peter, you can really see the emotion of Mike Kitchen. He goes through every moment of the game with his team. His shoulders will sag, or he'll be up, or he'll be down, and it's great to see from ice level just how involved he is. And again, he's teaching a lot. These are young rookies that are in the lineup. He has to do a lot of teaching as well as coaching.
7th power play of the afternoon for Dallas, and now they're looking for the equalizer. Here's Guerin trying to swing into a shooting position. Gets it to Arnott, back in front, and that ball, puck pinballing in front. Here's a centering pass, and Skula has to keep it in at the left point. Arnott with Guerin poised at the side of the net. There he is in front, and Sanford held his post, comes back to the point, and between the defensemen all the way down the ice.
Was there, and Chris, there was a good old NHL battle in front of the net. Morrow and Weinrich just pounding away at each other.
Now Lehtinen checks in with Jokinen. Modano up front. Trevor Daly getting a chance on this power play, and Daly saves it at the left point. Lehtinen for Jokinen. In front, Modano couldn't get a shot away. Here's a chance. Jokinen! And did that hit the post? Sanford had a glove up, but I think it grazed the post and stayed out. Great chance for Jokinen to tie it. Now Jackman, an opportunity to clear. Off the glass, Daly holds the zone. Final minute, second period. Dallas with pressure, but the Blues get it out. Zubov with just over a half minute remaining in the period to Daly. Daly sidestepped a check and moves in deep. Trevor Daly in front of the net. Orszagh couldn't come up with it for St. Louis. It'll be Zubov. Across, Modano, what a stop! Did you see the glove stop of Curtis Sanford off Mike Modano?
Cammy, you talked about Sanford maybe being a little inconsistent. There is nothing inconsistent with his play here today. That one was behind him.
Yeah, he reached back.
You don't very often see that where you are beat and he reached down and grabs it.
And guys, that's what the Blues talked about, what he's brought to them. A big save like that really gives a team jump. Scotty Young mentioned that to us yesterday. When he's there, when he's on in a game, and of course a shot from Mike Modano isn't just any other shot. I mean, he blasted that puck through, and that's a big lift for the club.
Well, Sanford wears the underdog mantle well. He was undrafted out of junior. He was 4th on the depth chart when the season started in St. Louis. He's the #1 man right now. Shot off target by Skula. And now Tkachuk gets it out. The time winds down in the second period that really took off at about the midway point for the Blues. They got the 2 goals in a 32-second span, including the first ever for Mike Glumac. Arnott had given Dallas a lead.
Arnott had one, but Sanford, you look back, and that is the key. Sanford waiting. We're just seeing him now leave the net, collecting himself. He knows that he made a couple of huge saves on Ott and Modano in that second period.
Wasn't that interesting as Sanford?
Yeah. Dallas, are they going to become only the 3rd club in the history of this league for 9 times in the 3rd period you're down and you win? Or is St. Louis going to win its 3rd game in a row at home and go 4-2-3 in its last 9 games? So both of these clubs have a lot riding on this 3rd period.
In fact, overall, the Blues haven't won back-to-back since November. As you mentioned, the task is tough despite the lead here. Hot shot by Weidman, and Turco tested early in the opening 30 seconds of the 3rd period. Stars took charge early in the second and seemed to be in control until the 15-minute mark. Then a power play goal to tie 32 seconds later. The go-ahead score by Glumac.
But every time we mention that power play goal, we have got to tag it with Sanford's save on Ott on the 2-on-1.
Turco lost his footing momentarily behind the net. Marty's parents are here, and they're getting set to join him on the Canadian Olympic charter to Torino next week.
Canada doing a great job, I think, with their charter. What they've done is they've given each player 5 seats on the charter to bring family members over with them over to Italy, and then they are completely taken care of once they get over there, so the players only have to worry about the games.
And Scott Young with his 5th shot on goal. There's Stepniak battling in the corner, coming up with the puck, centering in front, and Young unable to get a shot away, and Stu Barnes starts back. Here's Barnes into St. Louis ice, trying to swing wide on Walker, centers, Zubov up top, holds on to the puck and fires it right on Curtis Sanford. Let's go inside the glass, presented by Bud Light.
I talked to the coaching staff for both teams again after the second period. Mark Lamb from the Dallas Stars said to look for Dallas to shut down or move down to 3 lines. They want to get more guys involved. There's not a lot of momentum and flow to this game, so they're going to cut down to 9 players here and try to get them more involved in the game. On the St. Louis side, on the penalty kill, they're making making sure that the players get the puck out of the zone when they get it. They haven't done a good job on clearing the puck. And again, we talked about Mike Kitchen multitasking. He's having to teach his young players as well as coach the game. And one of the things they said to look for is Tippett's doing a little matching of his own. He's throwing out the Arnott line against the McAmmond line. They want to avoid that. They want to make sure that they get the proper matchup when the Arnott line is on the ice.
Two things. One about Dave Tippett. You know right now, Chris, you talked about it at the start. It's a sprint to that Olympic break, so you don't have to worry so much about any long-term fatigue for your hockey club. They've only got the 5 games left before the Olympic break. And for Mike Kitchen, I just thought it was fascinating yesterday talking to him, talking about what does he miss? What's the one thing he really misses? Getting out the interaction that an assistant coach can have working with the players. A head coach, you've got to worry about everything. You don't get that same individual time with guys.
You mentioned Mike Kitchen was an assistant in Toronto for 9 years, and then with Joe Quenneville here in St. Louis before assuming the job. You don't wish this kind of situation, a rebuilding in midstream like he has gone through because of a potential ownership change. You don't wish it on anybody, but if there's anybody that can handle it with dignity, grace, and being effective at it, it's a guy like Kitch.
And with a sense of humor. We sat with him yesterday for a good 40 minutes talking, and you know it's killing him. But he sat there. They weren't short answers. There was nothing. He was very involved.
Here's Chianek busting in with Tkachuk and a glove stop and a beauty by Marty Turco. A circus-like save off Peter Chianek.
One of the words you hear about Marty Turco, you hear competitor, you hear battler, but you also hear athletic. He's a real good athlete right there. I mean, that is, he had to turn, reach, visually find the puck, and then turn his hand back around to catch it. I mean, the number of things as an athlete he did right there, remarkable.
And he knows Tkachuk steaming right down the pipeline, right down the center of the ice.
And on top of it, he's on skates.
Chianek on this face-off, and he won it away from Arnott. That shot by Walker doesn't get through. The Arnott line out was Zubov and Daly. An outlet pass for Guerin went by him, and St. Louis sends it right back in.
When you're a club like St. Louis, you play in 5-minute blocks. Let gentlemen get to the first 5 minutes. That's 2 shifts approximately apiece. Let's get to the 15-minute mark. Let's see how we're playing. If we have to make any adjustments, we'll make it then for the next 5 minutes. You just keep breaking the game down. Make it simple for these young guys.
Here's Stepniak snapping a shot on Turco. Lee Stepniak was saying yesterday, the first time he played Dallas, he got shrugged off the puck by Jason Arnott. He realized immediately, I got to hit the weights. This is the big time. And you're going against a guy like Jason Arnott, 6'4", 220. Well, he's learned his lesson. He's going to work harder, but he's been a factor in this game today.
Chris, one of the things about Stepniak is he's got deceptive strength because he carries such a low center of gravity that he finds himself spinning out of moves in the offensive zone. He gets offensive chances because of that strength. He doesn't look big on the ice, but he's deceptively strong.
He's really made an impression in a short period of time here in St. Louis. Eric Weinrich has played over 1,100 games in the NHL. Starts the play that gets the puck deep into Dallas ice.
One of those unheralded American players. Only 12 American players and 8 American defensemen have ever played that many games. And I don't think that many people would realize that he's played that long.
We've talked a lot about the West Seneca, New York native Lee Stepniak. And what a week it has been. A pair of goals against the Chicago Blackhawks, and they seem to come in twos for him because this week also 2 shootout winning goals.
And Chris, one of the things that impressed me the most was the older guys talking about Stepniak. Keith Tkachuk said yesterday, I wish all young guys were like that. He's a mature kid, easy to talk to. He wants to learn. He asks a lot of questions, and they really like him.
But one of the things, and Cammie, you can talk to this because you've seen young people come into the game, and, he played college, played for 4 years at Dartmouth. He's 22. You see a lot of the European players will wait a year at least or 2 before they come over. It adds a certain maturity to the way you handle things.
Yet he still is in awe. He grew up a Buffalo Sabre fan, one of his favorite players is Dave Andreychuk. They played Tampa and Andreychuk. And as Jackman gets a shot right on, and after the game he went over and said, Dave, could I have your stick? And he's got Dave Andreychuk's stick as one of his many souvenirs of his very young National Hockey League career. Well, we talked about this Olympic-laden Dallas Stars team. 7 different players from Dallas headed to the Olympics. Modano out on the ice right now for the United States. Jerre Lehtinen will play for Finland. And that Finnish team now with bigger expectations. Here's Jokinen from Lehtinen with the goal from Jokinen. And the Finns conspire there for the tying goal.
Here's how you draw up that play. Modano with speed drives everybody back, gets the blue line, and then both Lehtinen and Jokinen drive to the net. Modano stops, throws the pass across, and Jokinen, what a pass. And for Lehtinen, that's his 26th goal of the season. That is a career high for Lehtinen, but that, much like the goal that we saw last week by Lehtinen against the Detroit Red Wings, it's a play where the speed of Modano sends everybody back on their heels. He steps back, and then all of a sudden, everybody is scrambling.
And Peter, you mentioned how hard Modano passes earlier in the game, and a lot of people talk about Modano's skating, but he passes the puck harder than so many guys in the league. And here he's on his back, and he gets a cross-ice pass through 2 sets of, through the whole box in the middle of the ice, across the Jokinen there, and that's just a great effort by Modano.
4:52, the time of the tying goal here in the 3rd period. At 4:55, and that line had to answer because the Arnott line had scored in the 2nd period. All 3 members of the Modano line figure in the scoring. So again, that little rivalry within a rivalry on the same team between the 2 big lines of the Dallas Stars.
The best one of those rivalries I ever witnessed was Messier versus Gretzky. And when way back when I played for the Vancouver Canucks, and it would be Messier's line and then Gretzky's line. And all of a sudden you see Messier's line again and then Gretzky's line. And the guys in the bench were, oh no, they're playing top that. And they would play top this goal for about a 12-minute stretch. The score would be 6-0, and that would be the end of the game.
Dennis Leroux assessing a penalty here.
Dallas, number 44, minor penalty tripping.
And Jason Arnott is heading off.
The stick gets in. It looked like it almost got trapped, but the referee right there is going to make the call. And now let's see how the St. Louis Blues respond. Anytime a club like Dallas, and you don't want to get too carried away with what Dallas represents, but they're a good club. And they're a kind of club that a lot of players, when they look up and they see the names, they see the fact that this has been one of the NHL's best clubs since over the course of the last decade. So for St. Louis, this is a big moment, even if they don't score, to get some offense going, get the play back in the Dallas zone.
The power play of the game. Scott Young's shot, and that ring off the post. Through the screen. 1 for 4, the Blues with a man advantage. Tkachuk on the ice, Giannick setting things up. There's Tkachuk. Putting it in the slot. Young a blast, and he can let it go, but Turco's got it all the way.
That is a spectacular save that kind of gets lost in the dust of what just happened. Tkachuk in the corner fires a pass at Young, who one-times it. You have to come across the left and right if you're Turco. Watch the pass. Right across. Young doesn't even come close to stopping it. Turco has to have his angle. This will be a great look at it right here. Look at Turco. Right there. Perfect position. He moves those stops. Perfect job by Turco to read that play. When he sees Tkachuk in the corner make that pass, he's got to know out of the side of his vision, his peripheral vision, where Young is and where my angle's got to be.
He just took off his mask after making that save, shook his head a bit. He was clearing the cobwebs. Mike Glumac had hit him earlier on the shift, right in the mask. 50 seconds gone in the power play. Young stays out on the point. McAmmond, who opened the proceedings today with a goal. Young fan on the shot under pressure, but the Blues keep it in. Here's Dahlman after it. He sends it deep, but Glumac's got it. Glumac and Dahlman grew up in the same hometown of Niagara Falls a year apart. They played a couple of minor hockey games together. Young at the point, winds, and that shot is blocked by Lehtinen. Now along the boards, McAmmond. Hot pass off the shin pads of Dahlman, and the Stars get it out. Madado goes to the bench. Back into McAmmond. He's turned back by Skula. Less than a half minute remaining in the 5th power play of the afternoon for St. Louis.
The big key to that first part of the penalty kill for Dallas was Lehtinen. Now, who was in the box when St. Louis scored their 1 power play goal? It was Lehtinen. He is such a key to so many situations for these Dallas Stars.
Turco unable to stop the shoot around, and it's collected by Tkachuk under pressure from Zubov. Daly now pushes it ahead. Dahlman will keep it in. It goes off McClement into the slot and swept away by Brendan Morrow and into the Blues bench as the penalty comes to an end, and we are locked at 3 in St. Louis. Say Cammie's inside the glass. She wishes there was a little more glass sometimes.
I'm not inside anything, and Chris, you said that puck went on the bench. That puck came right at me. I've got a souvenir.
Cam, you look behind you at all the marks where the pucks do hit, so keep your head up.
You got to be careful down here.
Brendan Morrow, Bill Guerin on the right side. The shot, Sanford the save, and the rebound at the side of the net. Arnott put it in front. And up with the puck came Dallas Drake, and back out comes Rycroft. Now out with Drake. On this line for St. Louis. Drake crept up along the boards. Knocked down was Rycroft. And now Skula battling with the Blues captain. Rycroft in support. Good work by Mark Rycroft. Trying to work in front. And he did. And Marty Turco has to be sharp as Rycroft with a power move to the front of the net.
There's a great description of what goaltenders have to do in a situation like this. You build a wall down low. So if the puck comes around, if someone's going to pull it up, there's not a lot you can do if he's going to come around to the top of the net. But watch Turco build a wall. You put your stick down, your pads down, you get everything down low so nothing's going to sneak through. If the man comes through, you're strong on the puck. You can't be worried who's whacking you, who's smacking you. Just stay strong down low.
Good play by Rycroft, the University of Denver Pioneer graduate. Now Stempniak back on the ice as the Stars send it to center. Here's the speedy Dean McAmmond. Back to Barret Jackman.
There's another guy as a veteran that has great skills, a lot of things that McAmmond can do. And you're not ever wishing that a guy doesn't stay with his club, but a guy that, I saw from Detroit. Mark Howell, their pro scout, is here today. Kenny Morrow is here today. And so you're seeing guys coming and watching all these pro scouts looking, and they always usually start with their clubs. They're starting to follow the playoff picture and start to see who they are saying is available.
14 NHL scouts were watching Thursday in the 6-5 Chicago, or the win over Chicago here at the Savvis Center. And only 5 St. Louis Blues under contract for next year. Brewer not in the lineup. He is coming off shoulder surgery. Barret Jackman, Bryce Salvador, another young defenseman who's out of the lineup, is under contract for next year, but there are a lot of veterans that might be available.
We talked about those 3 young defensemen. That is not to, for a second, forget about Brewer or Salvador. But they have a nice nucleus. We're talking about the 3 guys in their lineup today. Brewer is a force of a defensive, big, strong, can do it all. Traded for Pronger, and St. Louis very happy with the deal. Didn't want to lose Pronger, certainly one of the top defensemen that felt they got good quality in Brewer.
Skula with a shot through traffic, and Sanford saw it all the way and gloves it. Well, these young Blues giving Dallas all they can handle. Dano on the left, Bill Guerin on the right, Olympic bound, 2 of the 7 Olympians on the Stars, and there's another. Cammie?
Well, I talked to Marty Turco's parents who are in the building today, Alma and Gino, and they were so excited to talk about the Olympic experience. Marty's mom was already in tears, but they said when Marty called them to tell them that he had made the Olympic team. Gino, Marty's father, and him shared some tears on the phone. The Olympic experience means so much to this family, especially the Italian heritage. They can't wait to get over to Italy.
Pride of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Here's Dallas Drake to the attack.
But Mom and Dad will always be Mom and Dad. What are they doing? They're driving one of Marty's trucks from their hometown down to his home in Dallas.
Glumac battling along the boards with Ott for the Stars. Nice outlet pass, and Sharnquist is away with Stu Barnes. Barnes on the line for Skula. And it rolled off his stick before he could get a shot away, and G. McAmmond.
And Cammie, as we're talking about gold medals, you know, you look around, you're the one that's won one. What is that experience like to win an Olympic gold medal?
Oh, I mean, it's so hard to put into words. It's just, if you can see anyone's emotion on the face, that's where you really understand it. But it was the best thing in my athletic career by far. And the first thing I thought when I put the medal on was I have to show my family. I couldn't wait to find my parents just to see the emotion on their face and share that with them.
You know, you watch that, the Miracle, a club from 1980, and, you know, you've seen the movie, the motions. I've met a lot of those guys. But Cammie, is your club that won the gold medal, are you still connected? Is it one of those things that's just going to be a forever thing?
Well, you know, they're already talking about reunions, and it's not that far along. So we have.
Say you're not that old.
Yeah, we stay in touch, and you remember everybody in that lineup, and you're forever connected. You're always an Olympic champion. That's the greatest part about it.
Here comes that big Stars line, and Arnott set up Brendan Morrow in front of the net. Morrow after it again. Mike Kitchen yesterday talked about how aggressive the Dallas Stars are in the scoring zone. And can there be three more aggressive guys that are out there right now? Guerin, Arnott, and Morrow.
And this is when a club like Dallas starts to put their will on a game. They start to know we're 7 minutes away, 7.5 minutes away from the end of this game. We're now going to really start coming at.
Morrow fired, and it's kicked out and past. Guerin on coming, and away goes Drake the other way. Dallas Drake with a shot high over Turco.
And we're seeing Drake do exactly what Mike Kitchen said. We've seen him a couple times, not maybe great scoring chances, but he's put the puck on net, working, and then after you put the puck on net, driving towards the net.
Robidoff backing off Jokinen, who was involved in the tying goal that was scored by Lehtinen. Bounces it wide of Curtis Sanford. Robidoff steps up. He's jolted by Rycroft and Jackman on the far side. So again, the bench shortened for Dallas. They've got that dynamic 1-2 punch. The Arnott line, the Madado line, and less than 7 minutes to go.
And with that third line, you come out with Stu Barnes. Stu Barnes, we asked him yesterday, you know, what is your position? Well, I'm sort of a jack of all trades. I play center, right wing, left wing. There's nothing else. You know, as far as the center, forward goes, he does it all. And you hear so many coaches talk about Stu Barnes. Oh, I'd love to have a Stu Barnes. Because he can do just that. He can play every position. He can bump up to that first line if something happens. He can play the third line, kill penalties, power play.
And here comes Stu Barnes over the line. During the Olympic break, he'll be playing hockey dad for daughter Riley, who's 9, Jack, who's 6, and they're involved in the burgeoning Dallas minor hockey system. Riley playing on the boys team, and she might be the next Cammie Granato. Sharnquist working the boards. Ott in front, and it just went past Barnes. And Eric Weinrich got control and gets it out to center for Scott Young. Waiting to get the Blues time for a change, and now Young deposits the lead, and he heads to the bench.
And right back out with Guerin and his big line.
And Keith Tkachuk has checked in for the Blues. He played 22 minutes against Detroit, and then the next game against Chicago, not as much gas in the tank as that puck is whipped into the Blues bench. Under 5.5 minutes to go. It's been a good battle between St. Louis and Dallas. Underdog Blue. Dallas Stars, a high-powered Western team, riding a 6-game win streak. All they could handle this afternoon. And during the break, the word shootout came up. And since Dallas has feasted in the shootout, 3 of their 6 wins in a row here have come on the shootout. Blues with 5 of their last 8 games going to a shootout. It might go a little extra time today.
But you look at this game for St. Louis right now, if you're Mike Kitchen, the club's got 3 days off after this game. before they finish off in the top West Coast ring, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. But what a sweet, 3 days that would be for this young club as they would have some fun. There hasn't been that much fun. So you know Mike Kitchen's going to give everything he can for this hockey club.
Good check outlets, and Chyanek has the puck and rolls it in to get another change. Good pass to Morrow. Take the shot, and now he's double teamed along the boards. Brendan Morrow, one of the leaders on this Dallas team. Dave Tippett telling us that he's got a future captain tag. In fact, he almost represents the identity of what they want the Stars to be. That's lofty praise. Puck comes back to the point. Skula tees it up through the screen, and Curtis Sanford has it. Well, it was 25 consecutive years of playoff competition. It will come to an end for the first time since 1979, and that's how long ago it was. Now, Shirley?
The Dow Jones closed at 871 that day. And in hockey sense, that was the year that Wayne Gretzky, Ray Bourque, and Mark Messier played their first games in the NHL.
Stars were in Minnesota. And our producer Rich O'Connor was grooving to My Sharona. Here's Modano in front. Huge stop. Sanford again.
Well, this is the thing that the St. Louis doesn't want to do, is get in trouble in their own zone. Right now, with 4 minutes left, they've really got to do a good job of being good in critical areas, and Mike Kitchen stressed that. That's a game plan, and very important here and late in the period to be clean in your own zone, not give the puck up, and keep that game very simple.
And anything more than 15 seconds in your own zone, you'll start running around. So every time you get it, you want to move it out of your zone.
Modano got it to Lehtinen, a big rebound collected, and away goes McAmmond. Talked about his speed. He mentioned that a couple of years ago he was monitoring all the skill competition speed times. He was the fastest member of his team as McAmmond winds and fires off the blocker. There's only one faster time in the whole NHL, and he was surprised it was Patrick Marleau of San Jose. Penalty coming up against Dallas. Extra attacker on the ice, Modano.
There's going to be one. The referee's got his arm up.
Extra attacker on the ice, and the Blues getting organized with 6 men, but that pass picked off, and here comes the call that will put the Blues on the power play with 3:22 to go.
Number 14 for Dallas, 2 minutes, hooking.
Big kill for Dallas in this hockey game as they look to get that 9th win when trailing going into the 3rd period. But you wonder now, if you're Mike Kitchen, how do you manage your time? 3:22 to go. You know you have one number 1 group offensively. Do you use your timeout during this power play? Do you how do you take care of this last 3 minutes and 22 seconds?
Young and Weidman, the rookie, are the point men. Up front, Chyanek, Keith Tkachuk, and Glumac, who has his first NHL goal and finds himself on the Blues' #1 power play unit. There's Tkachuk in the corner. He's challenged there by Jon Klemm. Weidman at the point. And Weidman with 5 power play goals, 7 goals in all for the rookie defenseman. And he's got the puck now. Fakes the shot. Ott sprawling. In front it goes for Glumac. Blues battling to keep it in the zone. Tkachuk stapled along the boards. Glumac knocks it down. Now Weidman along against Morrow. And we'd now like to welcome viewers of Colorado and Detroit at the Savvis Center in St. Louis. The Blues on a power play. And the underdog Blues trying to break the 3-all tie. Here's a pass across. Chyanek back to the point. Young the blast. Knocked down by Morrow. It'll be Weidman, the rookie, trying to hold the zone. He does. Glumac bouncing off Morrow. Here's Tkachuk. Young with a chance. Holding in deep, and now losing it to Ott, who can't get it out. Chyanek keeps it alive at the right point. Weidman rolling puck. His shot is knocked down by Ott, and they will send it down the ice.
You talked about the confidence of Weidman. He was banging his stick for the puck on 5 different occasions. That kid, a rookie, just demanding that those players find him because he was open.
Chris Cuthbert, Peter McNabb, Cammy Granato here in St. Louis. And it's been an interesting afternoon as the young Blues have given these Stars all they can handle. 2 goals in a 32-second span put them ahead late in the second period, but Jerre Lehtinen has tied it in the third. Cammy?
Dallas has done such a great job on their penalty kill today, getting in the shooting areas and really kept St. Louis out on the perimeter, and especially most of that period. They had a lot of good puck movement, but they didn't get anything to the net. Stars
entered the game 1 point back of the Red Wings for the top spot in the Western Conference. Scrambling puck in the Dallas zone, and Lehtinen, who has the tying goal, will roll it deep into St. Louis territory.
One of the most over-talked about in my mind situation in the power play is good puck movement. It's good player movement that creates power play opportunities. If the guys are moving, they will get open. Oh.
Rycroft taking Klemm heavily into the boards as they raced to negate the icing. And play is halted on the icing call as we take a look at our Dodge Ram tough line.
McAmmond, and good job, but Glumac, his first goal. And you know, I think we've talked about this before. When do you forget your first goal? Never. It never happens. I have not met, talked to, been around a player that doesn't remember that first goal.
Who'd you score your first against?
It was against the old Minnesota North Stars. Cesar Maniego.
Wow.
And yes, you know, you say these names like they've been gone for so long, you realize so have I. You know, it was a long time ago.
Cesar from the hometown of Ray Ferraro and Dallas Drake. Trail BC. Barret Jackman fires it around. Stars trying to hold the zone in the final minute of this third period. And if it's Dallas and it's Saturday, does that mean we're headed to a shootout?
You've got to know it.
Speaking of shootouts, there's Jokinen feeding the point to Zubov. And the Blues are going to get it out as Rycroft plays it ahead, and here's Drake. Long range shot on Turco, steered aside. Jackman in deep. The defenseman moving right up on the play. Covered at the point by Johnson, but look out. He lost it, and Arnott's in. With Garrett, Jason Arnott, stopped by Sanford. Oh, what a chance in the dying seconds to end it, but we are headed to overtime. Curtis Sanford's been outstanding, and he saved his best stop, or one of his best of the night, for the final seconds.
That little move on the post right there as he watched the save, that's what he did at the end of the second period, just collect himself.
Stars tied it in the third, and we will go to overtime next.